If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.
Anything that has offended you about the Carolina week thing, question-wise? You answered a lot of questions at the podium today. You looked a little agitated, but you're a little playful. But you knew this day was coming. You knew this week was coming.
I really wasn't agitated. I was just trying to, just some of the questions I thought were questions of, I kind of knew the meaning behind it.
Do you think people are trying to bait you to say something negative about Charlotte? Look, I've known you I've known you a while, but talked to you a lot over the last few months. We've bumped into each other. I mean, you have never said anything to me about Charlotte other than how much you loved it. And
I love it.
You loved it there. So I think the questions that would come would be more of the emotion of what you went through. And I think you understand a football decision even at this point, that they parted ways and you're here now and you don't seem unhappy at all.
I'm not unhappy being here. I mean, who would be unhappy being here? You're on a great team. You have a history of winning. Great fan support. I mean, it was rocking and rolling Thursday night. The first game was rocking and roll. I mean, it's got to the point. It's so loud. My wife bought our infant
earplugs.
Headphones Baby Bops or something like that. So it was pretty cool. But I mean, like I said today, whoever, unless you hate your job, when you get laid off, fired, or whatever you want to say, they walk out and go, yes, got canned.
Right.
Nobody walks out like that, And so obviously there is some point or some level of letdown or disappointment.
When they say we don't want you anymore.
Yeah. So, and like I said, everybody has their sayings, and like even there's a few guys in Charlotte that said, well, this guy's doing such a better job than Steve ever could have done because it was without incident and this and that. I mean, and it's just like, I guess the thing that rubs me is they come in there and they've written their articles. Some of those guys written their articles and tried to dismiss me and tried to kind of say, well, this guy is doing so much better because this guy isn't there. And so it's just kind of like, just write your article, bro. Keep my name out your mouth.
I like the way how you handled the question because you've been asked this so many times, but now in the context of playing the Panthers, the question was asked on Wednesday about, do you have anything to prove to them? And you said, no, I don't really have anything to prove because I know they're game planning for me right now. And I thought that was just such a...
It's true.
Right, but I thought it was such a, you weren't baiting, you weren't trying to grab a sound bite that, that everyone was going to be running with across the country, but you kind of basically said, well, I've played well the first 3 weeks here. They have to account for me. They know what I can do, and that's that.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I don't have to prove anything. Or I have to prove like I have to prove every week. Can you play versus this opponent? Can you play versus this individual? The question everybody I heard, kind of listen a little bit was, who is Joe Hayden going to match up with? And will this guy, if it's Steve, will he be able to get separation? Right. Will he be able to play? And then it was after I got separation, I made plays. Well, he wasn't able to run past him. Well, that guy named Dante Whitner kind of slowed me down.
Right.
Trying to hit the snot out of me. So it's always something. I think what I get agitated about the media is it's always yes, but.
Right. And you know what? Since I'm talking to you, full disclosure.
Yep.
And I talked about it with Ness in the spring when you signed. I had my doubts because watching from afar, you look at the numbers, and again, you've had a great career, Hall of Fame caliber numbers before it's all said and done, but you do look at how things went there the last few years, just looking at the stats, watching you a couple times a year, and you're 35 years old. I mean, historically speaking, there is a lot of evidence against you. But as I said from the first day of OTAs and watching you all summer during training camp, and now we've seen it the first 3 weeks of the season, you may be 35 age-wise, but your production on the field suggests that you have plenty of football left. And I'll take my medicine right now. So.
Where's the humble pie?
Just don't touch his chicken wings.
I won't touch your wings.
I think a lot of times, like I said, systems can either hurt or help people.
Sure.
And I think sometimes, there are certain things that may happen for unforeseen circumstances that may dictate a reason. I mean, we ran the ball extremely well in Carolina in certain situations. And so when you're running the ball and you're up by, so many points in this third, fourth quarter, you're not going to throw the ball.
Sure.
And so, all those things play into it. Just like a guy may be seen has a drop, but it never says what, a guy may jump up for a pass going across the middle, and it might be the hardest pass ever. He tips it, and now that's considered a drop.
Right.
It doesn't have indicating.
It's not the full context, right?
What kind of throw was it?
Well, we have a new stat now on the stat sheet, targeted. How many times the ball went to you? I mean, what does that mean?
Sometimes a person can be throwing it away, and you happen to be in that area, because if you're not in that area, that's considered a what? What kind of? See, I'm testing y'all. I already know the answer, but I won't answer.
Wait, what was this again?
If a quarterback is not technically out of the pocket and he throws it towards the area, it has to be a receiver there.
Or it's intentional grounding.
Exactly.
Right.
So that is considered.
So he rolls out, and you might be running a sideline route, and
that's
he throws it 20 feet over your head.
Yeah,
it's a target for you.
Or he throws it 3 feet
right
to my feet, just so he doesn't take that sack,
right.
So we don't lose, as Coach Kubiak says, get off schedule.
Right.
Now instead of 2nd and 10, now it's 2nd and 15 or 2nd and 13. Well, we go in there and now that's a target, but that ball wasn't catchable.
Sure.
There was no way I was going to catch that. But, so.
So I'm going to ask you this. You can just say I don't want to answer. It's fine, because I don't rehearse any of this. In your own mind, when you get fired, as you say, was it because they thought you couldn't play, they thought you were too expensive, didn't like you, didn't think you fit the system? In your own mind, when you get fired, you think, well, why did that happen?
Well, I think it's a combination of everything. It's not about too expensive, because honestly, I was never asked to take a pay cut, and you can't take a pay cut on guaranteed money.
Right.
So that money was owed to me no matter what. If I sneezed, decided to play or not play,
you were getting paid.
I was getting that money.
Right.
That money was based off of when I signed that contract. When I re-signed that contract, that money was given to me saying, "Hey, our salary cap is this way. Do you mind taking a deferred payment?" Sure. And that deferred payment, that, as in the stock market world, that bond matured.
Sure.
In 2014, and I got my $5 million.
For you, when this happens, though,
check cashed.
Well, you're paying for the wings tonight, obviously. Now, when that happens, though, to you, is there a sadness that you only envision yourself in a pan? You obviously stayed there through 3 contracts, 4 contracts, however long it was.
Yeah, 4.
You probably never saw yourself in any other jersey, or did you have the reality about being a veteran NFL player that, hey, at some point they're going to want to get rid of me because they got rid of Jerry Rice, they got rid of everybody's gotten rid of except for Ray Lewis, apparently.
Honestly, this year was going to be, if I was there, was going to be my last year. I just decided it was time. I didn't want, didn't want to go through the process that I went through.
Right.
And so if I had my choice, I was like, I talked to my wife, and I was just like, I think this is it. She was like, what? I was like, I think I'm done after this. She was like, are you sure? And she asked me why, and we walked through the steps of why, and these are the reasons why. And she said, okay, I can understand that. And obviously at that time, we were planning for a baby. So, just all those things. I had some business stuff that, we have going on. And so it was more of just at peace of saying, if I'm no longer going to play, am I okay? Mentally.
Right.
And I think it was great that I went through that, because it gave me a great understanding as I watched. This was probably the first year that I watched the Super Bowl, and I was envious that I wasn't, the confetti wasn't being on me. It was like, if this is it.
But you did not have to come here and put a purple sweater on.
No, I still
got my money. You had. I
still get my $5 million.
Right,
I'm still getting it.
But your thought to continue playing when they said, we think you're done. They said, the professionals.
I heard just like as much as you guys heard. That in the way that it was spoke about me in past tense.
Sure.
And so I'm smarter than what people may think. And I was like, oh, okay. So we had our conversation. I walked out, and I was like, cool. I understand it. And all right.
Well, I mean, for what it's worth, if you're trying to prove them wrong, I think you've already done a great job 3 weeks into this. I mean, do you feel like you're playing fast and younger? right now? No?
No, I pick and choose when I pick and choose. I've always pick and choose. You can't run 100 miles an hour every play. It's not going to work.
You couldn't do that when you were 22, right?
You can't do it. Your body breaks down. Turf, your body's going to take a pounding. You cannot play 100 miles an hour all the time. You can't. On the backside of a run, I'm going to tell you this right now. On the backside run, I get what they call a loaf all the time. If it's a toss on the other side, that guy's pressed up. Hey, man, let's talk about it.
What about from a mental?
Look, I can block you, or you can go ahead and look blocked. Oh, let's look blocked. Because if I block you, I'm going to try to put you in the dirt.
What about from a mental standpoint? I mean, you said that if you had stayed in Carolina, that this was going to be your last year. But coming to Baltimore now, do you feel revitalized? And now you're looking. I mean, you signed a 3-year contract. Yeah. We know how contracts are in the NFL, though. Yeah. I mean, do you look? I know you're focused on this year, but are you now saying, well, this isn't my last year?
No, it's not my last year. I'll play. We all have intents. We all have when I signed it, we understood how long I'm going to play.
Right.
And this would be, I think pretty much that this will be the last contract that I've signed. And that's fine with that.
Okay. We got to step back, take a break. Steve Smith is here. We're rambling. I love talking to Steve Smith. We're having fun up here. It's all brought to you by Enoch Office, our friends at Fremont Mortgage, and Rugenics. The good doctor is here with us tonight. Morris Silver, Rugenics.com as well. We'll step out, take a break. We'll come back for more, and we'll wrap things up. We're going to talk about There Goes My Hero and about leukemia and saving lives next on WNST.
If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.